Veronica McGee. I'm Kyle McGee's mom. Kyle is 17 years old, and he is one of 4 children in our family. We live in Birmingham, Alabama, and Kyle attends Oak Mountain High School. A little bit about Kyle early on. So Kyle was born with some very, very complex medical diagnoses. Kyle was born with congenital hydrocephalus and also a genetic mutation called L1CAM. Hydrocephalus comes in all forms, but in Kyle's case it was very, very severe, to the point where it was possibly determined he may not even make it through his birth. And we began our journey for the next 10 years of getting Kyle healthy and independent. Now he's self-feeding. He also uses a communication device. Kyle's also non-ambulatory. He uses a power chair and a manual chair. For a child who does not communicate or has an inability to communicate through talking, Kyle has a voice, but a lot of people don't understand it. So that, to me, was a large barrier for me to be able, in our family, to envision how would he live in a home of his choice when he was older. We knew Kyle had a lot to say, that Kyle was smart, that he was receptive, that he was, he was very, very social, and he wanted to be a part of everything. It was just a matter of getting Kyle to buy into this communication world. And so he did. And so that created, for me and my family, the vision of seeing Kyle having a full life. Kyle started his therapy with a speech pathologist at United Abilities in Birmingham, Alabama.
Hi, I'm Becky Adams. I'm the speech language pathologist here at United Ability. I first met Kyle 3 years ago, and back then Kyle would come to therapy not a happy camper. Our first 3 months of therapy, it was kind of difficult. Kyle cried, scratched, screamed, and yelled a lot, because it was hard. At that very beginning point for Kyle, just giving me those first few messages, you could see that lights were being turned on and that he was really understanding what communication could get him. So here we are, 3 years later. We are working with a 28 location communication device. That means it has 28 messages on the main page. And we're teaching those core vocabulary words to him that he can use across all settings.
My name is Susan Ellis, and I am the state coordinator for People First of Alabama. We are a statewide organization made up of members with developmental disabilities. Part of People First's work is assisting in a process called Employment First. Employment First is a reference really to having people with the most complex support needs access paid employment. Once we started that process, we really started thinking about, well, where does Kyle have a natural network? Where do people know him? Where do people like him? Where does he like to be? And St. Vincent's 119 Health and Wellness turned out to be a great fit for both the employer and for Kyle. So we sort of looked at what would make this happen. We also needed to address the kinds of behaviors that were clearly a result of 16 years of not being able to express yourself. Behavior interventionist Chelsea Massey and her team, and Becky Adams and Veronica and Kyle were really the nucleus of moving things forward. Accessing the school supports was really critical, and at the same time, Kyle was moving into the opportunity to have supports from vocational rehabilitation. Veronica already had a relationship with the most experienced job support person that I know about in the state, Wendy Bache. So that started out last summer really as an extended school year project where Kyle could increase his appropriate use of his communication device, his motorized wheelchair, and then diminishing behaviors that could be a barrier for jobs and community living and learning.
Kyle had already been a member at St. Vincent's 119. He rode his bike there, he went swimming there. So everybody at St. Vincent's 119 had already known Kyle and already had an existing relationship with Kyle. So we took that relationship and that foundation and went to Kyle's IEP team at school.
This was really, really important for Kyle to make this part of his educational program. For Kyle, that would be actually, instead of learning in a classroom how to communicate and behave and learning job skills, it would be doing that on the job in an area where he's valued by coworkers and customers already.
So once Kyle became a voc rehab consumer, we were now able to take it to the next level, which was to tie in the long-term transition goal that Kyle has, which is paid supported employment. We sat down with the 119 team. We gave them the whole picture of how all these systems can work with 119 to make this happen for Kyle and to actually move him into the journey of paid supported employment. Jacqueline and Ryan came back to us literally the next day and said, you know what? We want to be part of this. We want to help you make this happen. What do we need to do? How can we help?
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Gardner, the Director of Health and Wellness Services here at St. Vincent's 119. For me, there was no question that this was going to be a success. I already knew that he had such support in our facility from our staff and from our members that it was just finding the right spot for him to sit. It wasn't a question for us. It absolutely wasn't for me. I knew that it was going to work, and I know that he's grown in the role already. As we see him get more and more comfortable and as we see his skills continue to develop here, that there are opportunities for him to plug in different ways. Kyle has become a blessing at 119. Kyle touches so many different people in so many different ways, and that was the unexpected part. We knew that this was going to be a success. The unexpected part was how many people Kyle would affect by his being here and his being here on a regular basis. Heartwarming is not even a big enough word for what it is when you walk through the front and see people interacting with Kyle, and excited to see Kyle, and as he goes through our facility and our staff are all engaging with him, and the faces light up and people are just excited to see that he's here. So he's been a blessing for us, and I almost can't imagine moving forward without him.
When Kyle first started working at 119, his only job was to sit at the front, and using his communication device was to greet people and tell them to have a good day when they were leaving. So he did that for a whole school year, and it wasn't until this past summer that we began to realize that really Kyle was capable of a whole lot more than just sitting up there greeting. And he is so social that we really wanted to maximize his strengths in that social area. So we began to work with the staff and build some relationships with the different departments and just really carve out things for Kyle to do that were beneficial to 119, but that were things that really just motivated him. So when he could be social and go around and greet people and visit with people and still be able to complete the tasks that they were asking him, it just motivated him to want to do more and more.
VR is only one part of the puzzle in helping Kyle be successful. We need the support of the family, collaborating with the school to ensure Kyle has transportation to get to and from his work experience. The family has worked through the waiver system to make sure there's a personal care attendant to assist Kyle with any needs he may have throughout the day. Cal has various therapists that help him use his communication device as well as develop the dexterity so that he can be more independent in his job tasks.
One of Kyle's tasks one day that they asked him to do was to participate in a town hall meeting, and basically he was handing out the program at the beginning of that. So one of the staff members that was in the town hall meeting saw what Kyle was doing, met Kyle's mom, and really showed an interest and reached out and asked what could Kyle do for her. So we began to meet with her and then to figure out some tasks and some things in her department that would be beneficial to Kyle that he would love doing.
We need 2 Kleenex and 1 box of gloves. Think you can help us with that too?
We gotta go downstairs to deliver the laundry. You gotta push the button.
Follow me, please.
We're trying to. Push that button.
Follow me, please. Follow me, please.
Alright, you're gonna have to really stretch if that's as close as you're gonna get. You're gonna have to get a little bit closer. It's right here. And I don't think it's close enough. Come over some. Alright, come towards me just a little bit. I think you can do it if you can come a little bit closer to me. Come on, come on, come on. Stretch, man. You got this. Yes. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, you did.
Here you go.
Can I hand it to her? Use both hands.
Thank you, Kyle.
Good job.
Thank you.
For someone that has the complexity of challenges that Kyle has, this really takes a collaborative effort from everyone.
Can you do some work for me? I missed you. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you to take this to the front for me.
Is this glass cleaner, this picture right here? Baby? Oh. What about this one? What, this one? Is this it? Okay. Can you grab it? Right here. Right in the basket. Push in the back.
Families' enthusiasm to see their son as not just somebody with a lot of physical and intellectual disabilities, but as a whole human being that is of value to their community, which is very hard to do when from birth a lot of professionals sort of take dreams away from people. So they were able to withstand that and really see their son as somebody who would be a valued citizen in the community.
For me, it was to always have high expectations for Kyle, to think out of the box, and most importantly is to keep a positive attitude and take the high road. when things don't go right, when you don't get the answers from the professionals that you want to hear. Lastly is do not take no for an answer. So that, I think, is the reason our family has been successful, and Kyle has shown us that he can be successful because Kyle does not take no for an answer.
My name is Kyle.
Over the past year, as we've seen Kyle grow into his role here, he really is developing a lot of social skills, and you can see that he takes his job seriously. When he comes to 119, he sits up a little straighter and he interacts with all of our team members in a little different way when he's on the job. I think as the program started, we thought that we were providing a service for Kyle, and what we found is that Kyle is serving us.
Have a nice day.